Alright children, here comes the last group for the day. Let's listen to your friend carefully and see what interesting findings this group has come up with.
I did some research and found something really important that I feel too many of us have not paid attention to. Even though this I believe is our way out, our solution for a sustainable future. Yes, I'm talking about SEP, Sufficiency, Economy, Philosophy. I would like to bring the topic to your attention, perhaps to spark ideas and actions amongst all of you. You see, sustainable development is not just about making economic progress or making sure an expanding economy doesn't explode, like when bubble bursts, but it means a balanced and secure foundation that is ready to face uncertainties and turbulences that can happen anytime. So SEP is one important tool for lots of people, from ordinary working folks, from school-age kids like us too, of course, adults from small family business to large corporation, all the way to national policy and international cooperation to solve the world problem. To use when analyzing or making decisions about things, solving problems creatively and so on. So, as I dug deeper and deeper the topics that is sufficiency, economy, philosophy, and sustainable development or sustainability and security, sustainable development mandate, and so on, I came up with the following. Let's start with the so-called triple hoops and double conditionalities, often used to demonstrate the sufficiency, economy, philosophy thinking. Starting for moderation, which of course sounds like saying one shouldn't be greedy, which is true. But moderation goes much further. That is to say, one shouldn't live beyond one's means or set unrealistic expectations. Goals must be appraised when considered in relation to the resources, the timeliness and readiness of all things considered. Moderation doesn't just deal with greed or self-interest, but even we do things for the greater good. Moderation applies. Finally, moderation isn't just about avoiding excess. Aiming too low also fails the moderation test, like when one has plenty of education but is lazing around, or when one is rich but stingy, not sharing when he or she should. Moderation is all about achieving the optimum point, not too much, not too little. Let's move on to reasonableness, which is to say that rationalities, the law of causalities, causes and effects, applies to all things considered. Whether you are talking about a problem or solution, we should look at it as the result of some cause, each of which is itself a result of some other causes, and so on. Like in a chain, some deeper cause we can address ourselves, others aren't. They may be beyond our control, direct responsibility, perhaps lovable, but only when a network of social enterprise and dedicated individuals come together and unite for the common cause. Being reasonable means we are aware of how our decision for action can get the maximum benefit, with the least negative side effect. It also helps us think about what or how much we should or shouldn't do, and with what means that best suits the situation. And now prudence. This principle is all about building the metaphorical vaccines that build immunity against future uncertainty and thirst, ensuring that our society, our culture, or way of life each has the resilience to withstand adversity, in other words, things that could not be otherwise anticipated or effectively mitigated. Notice how moderation reasonableness, and prudence work together, hence the triple hoops. So let's make sure what we think, say, or do will pass through the triple hoops, so to speak. Now, when we pass all that in practice, our action will lead to long-lasting success. That is to sustainably secure and progress society, if and only if they justify two conditions, one regarding application of knowledge and one regarding the necessary virtue. Firstly, in applying our knowledge, technology, and know-how to problem solving, one must exercise care and due diligence. Sometimes it's not what you know that matters, but the mindful awareness of the limits of our knowledge, what we do know, what we do not know, or where our knowledge can be called into question. The mindful awareness that the know-how that got us here, solve the previous problem, may not be appropriate for the new set of challenges on our new path to a sustainable future. This is the so-called knowledge conditions. As for the necessary virtue, for sure, it all starts with almost honesty, integrity to achieve the noble goals. Besides total honesty, perseverance, it's also a necessary virtue. For doing good deeds means overcoming obstacles, innovative, lasting solutions to difficult problems, rarely provide quick results. In the meantime, shortcuts or cutting corners must seem very tempting, so the forbearance to stay on the right path, overcoming the urge to take an easy way out is an essential path to translating the sufficiency economy philosophy into the reality of sustainable development. So, what do you think about all this? By now, it should not be obvious how sufficiency economy does not mean living economically or unambitiously, or that we should all become farmers, as often misunderstood. Rather, it's a set of life-changing principle that can be applied to everything, everywhere, and especially in the age of uncertainty we live in today. The more we think in systematic and holistic way using such principle, whether in our own personal lives, as part of formal education, in business, or driving policy making, at the national level, the closer we move toward achieving balanced, inclusive, and equitable growth for all. As for myself, I will use sufficiency economy philosophy, which I summarize to moderation, reasonableness, and prudence on the basis of appropriate knowledge and virtue in my own life. Whether it's all about my studies such as having to think about how to manage my time for extracurricular activity versus homework and house chore, or about planning for my future plans so that I can see what I'm good at and how I can become a quality person who can contribute to our society. Because from now on, Nene and you, my friends, will be the one who have to take care of our land, our home, our planet. How can we ignore this, right? As for the adults, how do you plan to leave the world? To ask, what future will you leave us with? Knowing that what will happen to us in future largely depends on what you do today. Would you do anything differently and hopefully better for us, our society, our country, our world? So, that was all the homework Nene and team have studied. Thank you.